Welcome back to Wealthy Mentor Trading, guys. Today is December the 26th, 2021, and I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and I wish everyone had a great Christmas and spent the time with their families. Today, I'm going to be discussing 4 stocks that I'm bullish on to close out 2021. But before we get started, guys, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel for weekly updates on videos and stocks. Okay, we also have our $99 promo for 2 months at Wealthy Mentor Trading on Discord, where we share ideas, including day trading, options trading, swing trading, analyst upgrades, the whole 9 yards, and it's a great community to be a part of. And if you are interested in also joining our IG network, right, head over to Wealthy Mentor Trading on IG for the latest updates. With that being said, we do have the S&P 500 chart here, guys. And as you guys can see, we did have a nice bullish week. We did drop down all the way back to that 45.30 support area where we bounced down. Now, I was expecting us to drop down to 4,500, creating a double bottom scenario here, and we almost did that. But thankfully, the market held on, and we did have a nice gap open here, pushing past that $4,600 resistance area that I did want to see break, and all the way up to pretty much testing all-time highs at that 47.43 area before getting a rejection and a close on Thursday, I should say, as it was a shortened week, right? And we did close just below that 47.30 area, almost creating another double top scenario now at all-time highs. So going into next week, I am looking for a break above that 47.43, but most importantly, that 47.50 area as it is psychological resistance. And above that, I am looking for take profits of 47.80 and the big round number here, 4,800 to close out the year. Now, am I expecting to hit 4,800? Probably not. We could slush around this 47.30, 47.50 area to close out the year. But I am bullish overall, and the market is closing on strength to close that week off. We did have the worries with the new Omicron virus variant subside, and we did have a strong earnings on Micron, right? That also pushed the semiconductor sector higher, which did kind of set a catalyst for the overall market view to go higher, right? So right now, I am bullish on the markets, but if we do get a pullback, that $4,700 area is key support for me, as we did have a hard time breaking it multiple times here, right? So whatever turns resistance here, now on the way down turns to support, right? So I am expecting that $4,700 area to hold. Now, if we cannot hold that and we get more worries about the new virus and whatnot and shutdowns, we could potentially see ourselves dropping down to that 46.80 area and that 46.50 area, which was key support for us. All right. Overall, I am bullish on the S&P 500, so it's a good time to trade right now, right? We are looking for a break above that 47.50 area to run to all-time highs, and it's a blue sky breakout, so it can run a lot higher. It all depending on how the outlook looks in terms of the news and in terms of the overall economic outlook. So keep your eyes on these 4 stocks that I'm going to be mentioning right now, and the first one being Apple. Now, Apple also tends to run with the S&P 500, and you guys know here we did have a nice bounce on Apple at that 168 area, which was key support, right? I did want to see this hold. I pretty much wanted to see that 170, 168 area hold, because we did have a high here back on December the 1st, where it was around 176, let's just say 170 was an all-time highs here back on December the 1st. So we pushed down, tested that area, and we did have a nice bounce up. Obviously, the S&P 500 played a big role in that, creating that V-shaped correction. And going into next week, I am looking above 177 for a potential test of all-time highs at 182. Overall, I am bullish on Apple just because we do have multiple analysts all in agreement that we have targets of $200 and $210 respectively. So I am looking for a push on Apple going into the end of the year. But first things first, 177 is that key resistance line. As you guys can see here, we did have a rejection here, multiple long wicks here, representing sellers stepping in and pushing it below that 177 area. Now, going into tomorrow, obviously, we just did close below that 177 area to close out the week. A break above that could potentially lead us to 180, where we did have a rejection over here. So that would be my first take profit area. And my second take profit area would be that 182.5 mark, right? So I would probably close my position right here, depending on how the market looks. And then if we do see continued volume, I would re-enter my position for a potential push up to that next take profit area of 184, okay? Overall, I am bullish on Apple, guys, as long as the S&P 500 continues to push and make those all-time highs. Now, overall, on the support side, we do have that area of 173.5, where it was previous resistance, now turns into support. So I am looking for that to hold. If that does not hold, 170 also is a key area. As I mentioned here, it was the peak on December the 1st, and it was all-time highs back then as well. So those two areas here are key support for me if we do see some market weakness. The next name that's important to me is Tesla. And you guys know I am a big follower of Tesla. And, the key thing was that we did drop down and fill that gap at that $900 area and below. Actually, we just dropped down to that 880, 890, right? We wicked down here. As you guys can see here, this long wick represents buyers stepping in and pushing it back above that 910 area. Overall, Elon Musk did confirm that he did complete his selling of the Tesla stock. So that was the fundamental part. The technical part is that we had a gap fill at that $900 area that for the longest of time, people were wanting that area to get filled, and we did get that, right? And when you fill a gap, what you want to see is a large bounce. And you know what? We had a great week, making substantial movements, right? We gained 20% on the week, and overall, I am looking for that break above 1070, 1080 area for my entry point. As you guys can see here, it was a rejection point back on December the 8th, and here we are testing it once more. Did close bullish to end the week at the highs, just underneath that 1070 area. Going into next week, my entry point is that 1070 to 1080 area for potential take profits at 1100 and 1120, which was a key rejection point right here on November the 11th, once more here on the 17th. And obviously, we have been trending below that line quite a bit on multiple occasions. So for me, 1070, 1080 is an entry point, right? 1100 is your first take profit area, and 1120 is your second take profit area. Now, that's not to say Tesla can't push any higher, and we could potentially hit that 1150, 1170 area, which was a double top right here, right? Back on the 11th, the November the 22nd, and December the 1st, right? So I am bullish on Tesla, guys. I do want to see that psychological resistance of $1,100 break just to make us, feel better. It is a nice round number. It is a psychological point, and it is a point where if we cross that area, it kind of changes the trend, right? It kind of changes that salty taste that we had in our mouth that Tesla was going to drop even below that gap fill. So I am looking for that break above $1,100 for myself for potential push to that 1120 take profit area, as I mentioned. Now, to the downside, let's just say we have a terrible week on the S&P 500. Let's say the tech sector, QQQ, pushes down. Where do I see it going? That 1020 area is a key area for me, as it was resistance right here, right? Back on the 10th of December. And it can turn to support right here if we do see a drop. Now, if that area does not hold, I am opening up puts, right? And that is going down all the way to that $1,000 area. So that is a key support line. It is psychological support, that $1,000 area, and it is the peak right here, and it is the bounce point right here where buyers stepped in. As you guys can see, this wick right here on this candlestick on the 4-hour time frame. So a break below 1020, if we cannot hold that, $1,000 is your first take profit, and that 980, 986 area, as you guys can see here on the support line, is another take profit area if you are buying puts, right? If you're on options, if you're trading options, right? So going into next week, look above that 1070, 1080, and to the downside, you want to see that 1020 hold, okay? So that is Tesla going into tomorrow. Another name that was really important, right? And it kind of set the tone for the semiconductor sector, and it was Micron. Micron had killer earnings, and it had a 17% gain on the week. We do have all-time highs at that $97 area, which was back on April 2021. So it's been a long time since Micron has pushed this high, right? So if you're going to go on the daily time frame, you can see a huge V-shaped correction, right? From the lows of $65 back on October. And here we are now about to test that all-time highs area at that 97 mark. So going into tomorrow, I am looking for a break above 97 for potential take profits of $100. Now, $100 is a nice round number. It is a psychological resistance point. Now, to me, I want to see a break above that for potential next push to 104. Now, you have two options. As an options trader, I suggest you can do these two things, right? You can enter on the break of $97, right? And let it run. It is in a blue sky breakout, so it can run as high as 100, 110. It all depends on the market conditions. It also depends on the semiconductor sector. Now, SMH does have a resistance point at that 311.50 mark. So for me, if I'm trading a name like Micron, I'm definitely looking at the semiconductor sector to get confirmation if we break 311.50 for my entry point at that $97 mark. Now, if you are a safer trader and you want to see that big round number of $100 break, I would suggest you enter on $100 to run up all the way to 104, which would be your take profit area. Overall, I am bullish on Micron and I am bullish on the semiconductor sector as long as we can get past that 311.50 hurdle. And, my entry point on Micron would be a lot more comfortable for me. Okay. Now, to the downside, we do have that 93.5 area, which is some strong support. As you guys can see here, we've had multiple rejections and candle wicks. So it is a tricky area right here, guys, right? So you want to see that 93.50 hold. If we cannot hold that, that $90 area is another area for me of significance because it was resistance right here and it was a big candlestick right here breaking it, right? So when you have a strong resistance point such as that $90 mark, you want to see big volume, and that's what we got to break that. So on a pullback, if we cannot hold 93.5, you want to hold this area where we had a hard time breaking, which was previous resistance, now turns to support at that $90 mark. So those are two key areas for me if we do receive a pullback in the markets overall and in the semiconductor sector, SMH, if it cannot break that 311.50 mark. All right, overall, bullish on Micron. We need to see that 311.50 mark break on the semiconductor sector, SMH. Okay, so that is the third name that I wanted to discuss. The fourth and final name, and it is also connected to the semiconductor sector, and that is AMD. AMD had a nice week gaining 10%. Just like the majority of the markets, we did see a nice bounce, right? Here we are on AMD, and to me, my entry point is that 150 area. We did have multiple rejections here and bounces here to the upside. So I want to see 150 break, but if you are a safer trader, that 152.5 area is also another entry point, which you might want to take a look at, right? So we've had two rejections here. These are both on the daily time frame, so they're significant, right? So when we drop down from this candlestick here back on December, we tried to go back up and re-break it and test those higher highs, right? We couldn't do that. We got a rejection on the daily. And the next day, we got another rejection on the daily. So to me, that proves that that is strong resistance, especially on the daily candlesticks, right? They hold a lot of price action, and it's a better barometer for you to understand your entry points, right? You always want to look at the higher time frames and make your way down to the lower time frames. So overall, I want to see a break of 152.5 for a potential push to that 156.5 area for take profit zones. As you guys can see here, it was also resistance. So this is an area where I would take profits at, or if we do see continued volume, strong volume, and the semiconductor sector break above that 311.50 mark, as I mentioned on Micron, you might want to double down on your position at that 156.50 area for potential push to that 160 to 162 mark. Okay. Overall, I am bullish on AMD, but first things first, I want to see 150 break, and I also want to see it backed by the semiconductor sector, and I want to see the S&P 500 in a bullish posture. All right. So as a trader, you just don't want to look at one chart and enter. You want to see what the other market sectors are doing and to see if they're healthy for your entry. Okay. Now, to the downside, let's just say if none of this works out and the S&P 500 tanks and the semiconductor sector doesn't do so well and it pulls back, 145 is that key support line. Now, if that can't hold, we do have 142 and 139 as key support areas on AMD on a pullback. All right. So, guys, those are 4 names I want to discuss for a bullish run up to end 2021. Keep your eyes on Tesla, right? That $1,100 psychological point is a key area for me. But if you are a trader, look for that 1070, 1080 area for entries. Apple, that 177 mark is key, right? A break above that could potentially lead us to test all-time highs. Analysts are bullish. Make sure you're looking at the S&P 500 to confirm your entries. Micron, as I mentioned, it is nearing that all-time highs. 97 is a good entry point. 100 is a key psychological resistance point that you may want to take a look at and enter there. Overall, I am bullish on the markets, right? We are all-time highs, testing that area of 47, 43. We are also in a double top scenario, so watch out for that, right? We might get a rejection at that double top and pull back, or we might break it and move a lot higher towards that $4,800 mark to close out 2021 with a bang. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining. Be sure to leave a comment in the comment section if you want a name reviewed, right? We are going into next year, 2022, so I am going to be taking suggestions, right? I do want to see what you guys have to say. And also, please show some support and like the video. And if you are interested in trading with us at Wealthy Mentor Trading on Discord, please click the link in the description, and that should take you to the checkout page, and you get to join us to trade with us on Discord. Thank you so much, and see you guys next year. Bye.